Here we are at the beautiful marina in Bangor in County Down in Northern Ireland, and today we're going to tackle it in watercolour and ink. So come with me as we draw this beautiful scene together. Here is an uninterrupted panning shot of the beautiful location of Bangor Marina that we're going to paint together today. So today we're using the Langton mold made watercolour. It's a 300 GSM. The advantage to having this is, if you've never used these before, is that they're gummed on every side. So they're gummed the whole way around, and then there's a little split where you can take them off, and it just means that it won't buckle as much for you. I'm using the Lamy Safari. I think it's probably a medium nib or maybe a fine nib, I'm not sure, and carbon ink, which I just refreshed this morning. So we're gonna get in, and I really want to just get going here in terms of keeping it nice and loose and free. Kind of going with these buildings up in the sky. You know, I've never drawn on this paper before, so it'll be interesting to see how it takes the Lamy pen, or just giving the idea of these houses just up here, just hinting to them, just letting the pen kind of dance around here. There's the trees down there. So we're just giving almost hinting at them, giving the illusion of them, not thinking too much about what's going on there. And then some of these houses along here. Just noticing, it's from skills that I've developed from just noticing and drawing buildings before you start to get the kind of the gist of the lines. Getting to some of these details down here of this these buildings that are way up ahead of us. And then there's more of these trees that are and then we've got this kind of bank of different shrubs and things, and then this rising and falling line of the marina. And then we've got the marina has these like sort of marker points. I'm deliberately moving nice and quickly this time, not being precious. You can hear the runners going past. Far rather be doing this than running, tell you that. And then just noticing that those little arrowhead markers all change in shape and size whenever, depending on how far away they are. Now I'm just trying to get in some of these boats here now. Keeping it really nice and loose. Just enjoying drawing, not really considering too much is going to notice. This takes a bit of time to receive the ink. You have to press into the page a little bit. I don't know whether that's just because it's the type of paper that it is and it's maybe slightly rougher than normal. Although I would normally use a cold pressed, which cold press is going to have those kind of bumps in it, you know. So we're just capturing, and then we've got the kind of boardwalks that you walk along in the marina. And they're underpinned with these kind of struts here, and we've got, it's just drawing the boats as we see them. Part of what I do is I'm not looking to exactly capture where each boat is placed. I am just looking to capture the feel of this place, which is much more liberating than having to get everything exactly in where I think it should be. So we're moving along, getting these boats now. There's this lovely bigger boat here, so we're going to put this in, trying to find its place. And it has a nice big window. And then there's another big cover of a boat there. So I'm starting to have some of the thoughts of the ugly phase, you know, oh goodness, this isn't looking the way I think I want it to go. So we're just going to keep persevering with this. And the reason why I'm sharing that with you is because it's so very normal, and it is a normative part of my experience of drawing, that I hit that phase, and we're not going to worry or be concerned about that. We're just going to keep going. Now hopefully, oh, it's still a little wet, but it won't matter because we're going to add it's got this gorgeous big long mast to it, and you can see that has moved some of that ink, but we're not going to worry about that. Down there, there's some of those lines there, keeping this really nice and free, and it's actually incredibly liberating to draw like this, because you don't often, well certainly for me, you often feel a little bit more pressure, and not that it has to be something that maybe it actually isn't, you know. Just enjoying the process of drawing. Some more of that marina in. The thing is, those lovely big cones that are happening over there. And then this big boat, the shape of a boat here. Lots of different structures in boats. It's quite remarkable. It's like the different types of people that you see. There's just such a huge variety with boats. And we're gonna just keep capturing the different shapes. Now that I'm in this mode, when you're in this mode, it is so much easier to continue on in this mode, to continue to capture in this way, and this way of doing it, which is keeping it nice and loose. And then when you're adding the colour in, however you're going to add the colour, and part of me thinks that what I will do this time is just add in just some simple tones and not be worrying too much about even capturing the colours as they actually are. Now we've got even more of these, it's like a complex, it's like something out of Takeshi's Castle, you know, like an obstacle course. And I've deliberately drawn a part of the marina that is a bit emptier. And the part of the discipline in this is keeping it so that your hands are nice and free. When your hands are forced to be free, then you draw in a very different way. because you're not actually that concerned about it being, you can't grip it far enough down for it to be, you know, insanely accurate, you know. So you have to kind of work with what you've got. So I want to get a little bit more, just a little bit more of the detail here. I'm having to hold the pen to the side here to try and capture that. And then you've got more of these all sorts of structures and things happening over here. Really, I love using the words given a nod to. You are constantly giving a nod to these other things in these other buildings that are around, just to inform that's part of what's going on, you know. And I'm not being afraid to go over lines and head on things. This is a deliberately loose sketch, which we're going to add watercolor to. And I'm undecided yet as to whether I just simply do that in monochrome, or whether I add more depth to it. And I think what I will do is just probably keep it monochrome today. Now, I'm not going to draw any more than that with this pen, but what I do want to do is go in with the 8. These are the unipins, and I'm going to go in with the 8 on the unipins to find the areas. Now, some of these are still going to be wet, so we just want to be careful. But like I said, you know, I'm not overly concerned about, but it'll just let me sort out and settle down certain areas. Particularly the likes of the windows. That are going to have, you know, much deeper shadows to them. This large bollard that's happening here. And the dark lines that are happening under the thing of the marina, under the boardwalk of the marina. Just keeping it really, it's actually so enjoyable, just keeping it more loose than normal. It's really pleasant and good fun doing that. Okay, so we've kept it loose, and I've gone over it ever so slightly with the unipins in the darker. I'm going to put the stampers in now. Put the date and the time in. So let's put the stampers on next. Well, I thought it'd be a bit boring if you just had to watch me do it in real time, so here it is done very, very quickly. So here we are, we've got the stampers done, we've got the line work done, and we're using a half graduate De La Rowney oval wash. I like the graduates. I'm trying to make a decision as to whether I go with the darker tone or whether I go with the lighter tone, and I think what I'm going to do is go with the darker today. Ironically, even though it's a beautiful summer's day, not summer's, certainly heading towards spring. So I'm going to use this got my De La Rowney half pans, and I'm going to use this Pthalo Blue, I think, throughout. So it's going to give it, going to end up giving it a bit of a feel. And the thing I like about this kind of mop style brush is it really is just nice and thick, and it's going to give you that sort of sense. Those clouds are quite heavy in the skyline, so we're just gonna leave that there, get a good old tap in, clean the brush. That's me really done with that oval wash. What I'm going to do then is squeeze that out, and then I'm going to move to my pretty standard 3/4 flat wash in the Simply De La Rowney range. I'm going to stay with the same tone. I'm going to mix quite a thin wash, I think, for some of it. I might actually need to go a little bit darker, you know, because to be able to capture those areas where it's dark with the, it's quite dark underneath the, you know, the side of the wall. So there's going to need to be lots of drying in this one for this to work. We're just going to notice other places where it's really very dark underneath. Now, the other thing I want to do is get the roof. Now the roofs are quite close to that. The sky, so obviously don't really want that to bleed too much. You see that some of that ink there is still a little bit wet. We'll just let that mix together. We're just making reference to different parts of this, and I'm gonna actually, while I'm here, mix it even thicker and very, oh, got a little bit of bleed there, that's okay. I can live with that. Capturing where those lines are. Now I'm looking for the darkest points with this initially, so I'm gonna find where the windows are. So really we're just with this, we are just picking up on where the darkest points are. And there are two ways always with watercolor to add in shadow. And the one is to mix in a darker color, like a black or a deeper blue or something like that. And the other way then is to just intensify the pigment and to have a richer wash that you're using. So in this it really is having in that richer wash. Just using the corner of the flat edge brush there. So we're going to let this, well actually, do you know what? I was going to say we're going to let it dry, but what we'll do is we'll just weaken the mix that we'll have. And we'll just start to look around a little bit for areas of the boats. This is a nice thin wash now. It's so lovely sketching like this. It's a lovely way of doing it. Getting in those gangways there, and then as we go along we can add in more detail to that. Now the other thing we can do is for the trees, because the trees are really, and shrubs are really quite dominant in this.
Lovely little bungalow, and actually it needs a lot of work. Like they want to do a lot of stuff to it.
You can hear all the conversation, the joys of doing painting outside in different areas. Just dancing around there with the corner of the brush for the shrubbery. It's happening. Hopefully you can start to see it build a little bit. So I'm just gonna keep looking around. this dry for a bit, and then we'll come back to it when the layer is dry. So now we have let this dry in the, well, it's not that warm today, but anyway the sunlight has done its work. So what I'm looking to do now is to hopefully build up a little bit on some of the shrubbery that's around here. You see, just with that lovely understanding of watercolor, that if you let it dry, then it becomes waterproof, and you can work in the layers that are actually present there. So we're just going to keep working along this kind of line here. You're going to add in a little bit more depth to give that sort of sense of the shrubs. Let me work on my way through this. Just add in, there's some details on the roof there. Again, we can darken down a roof here as well, because again that's dry, the sky is dry, we don't have the concern of the bleed. Now to catch some of the water here, sometimes what I tend to do with water is moving a flat edge brush just in that kind of a movement, side to side movement there. Will give that sense of the water. And I'm not, this is by no means I'm just going to block that in there to show some shadow on that side of the building. Just one of them. Sorry, I'm darting all over the place here. Got a bit of a flick in there. Okay, so just sort of giving that sense of illusion of water. And then what we're going to do is thicken up the pigment. We're just going to drop just a little touch of detail into those parts of the pole, and also look to the darker bits of the windows on the boats as well, to really accentuate those darker areas. And I always find that whenever I do that in any sort of a painting or a drawing, then it really begins to give it some depth. The only bit of a boat that I'm giving any sort of sense of detail to, just this, it's like a darker navy, not tarpaulin but covering that's over the boat there. So keeping the pigment really nice and thick, just dropping it into those areas. Where it's the windows are darker, and then just ever so slightly underneath where the boardwalks are, because that's obviously another darker point in the picture as well. And I really don't want to do too much more to it than that. Maybe gonna listen down the pigment again, just go ever so slightly over these areas that are the darker bits underneath the boat. Hiya. Just to give that illusion of the shadow underneath. Get some more splatters into the edge there. I'm just going to do this side of this big boat here so that it's much more shadowed. Okay, and that's really all that I want to do today on this one. Here you are, Bangor Marina, in one colour, a Pthalo Blue, on some gummed paper, which means that it's not, whenever it buckles, it's not going to lift off. And there you have it. I've got my coat on because it's a little bit cold whenever you're sitting drawing and painting for a while. I hope you really enjoyed capturing this lovely scene that's in front of me on a beautiful day in April. If you've been painting along with me, do send them in and I'll pop them up on my community page. It would be great to see and to share those things. As always, if you're enjoying these videos, like and subscribe, and give me suggestions of places you'd like me to visit, different materials you'd like me to try out. styles and techniques and all those sorts of things, let me know. But thanks for being with me today, and see you soon.